Welcome back. Let's study args and kwargs. Args is invoked using a tuple. Kwargs is invoked using a dictionary. Both are used in functions to accept a variable number of arguments. So let's have our example here. We have a function add with two arguments x and y. The function sums up x plus y and returns the sum. We pass the parameters 1 and 2 for x and y respectively and have our run here, which gives the sum 3. If we need a third argument, say z, we must add it here in the code of the function. So we have x plus y plus z, and we pass the third parameter here, comma 5. And we have our run, so it gives the total of 8. Instead of x, y, and z and having different number of arguments each time we need a run, so let's have here our star args. So have here args. And instead of summing x plus y plus z, now we have any number of arguments, so let's have a for loop to count over the elements of the arguments. So let's start by sum equals 0 and start our for loop here. So for I in args and have our colon, let's have sum equals sum plus I, or simply sum plus equals I. And let's return the sum and have our print here. So we print the parameters 1, 2, 3, 7, say. And let's have our run now. It prints 13, which is the sum. This is how we use star args. So in changing the number of arguments here, if we add a 10, we get the new sum very easily now. And print here prints what is returned in the function here. It prints the sum. It is not necessarily to use the word args, so we can have star tuple 1, say. And let's have here, instead of args, tuple 1. And have our run. Yes, you can use any name for the arguments, the name you are convenient with. Let's try our args with strings. We have a function called vegetables now with a variable number of arguments. Let's have a pass for now. So we have here pass. And let's have our vegetables here. So on calling this function, we have vegetables with the parameters. Let's have here, instead of pass, to print that I love spinach, I love okra, I love tomato. So we need a for loop here for a counter over the loop, say x or vegetable in args. So we have in args, have our colon, and print using the f string between quotations I love, and have our placeholder here to insert the x and have our run. Yes, it gives I love spinach, I love okra, and I love tomato here, because vegetable here calls the function with a different number of arguments. So we can include here another vegetable, say squash. And let's have our new print here on calling the function vegetables. Yes, it gives here I love spinach, okra, tomato, and squash. Let's now proceed with kwargs. Kwargs are used with dictionaries. So we have our function student grades with the arguments kwargs to be flexible to use any number of items in the dictionary. Let's have the function pass for now. And on calling the function student grades, we have math equals 10, science equals 8, and this is our dictionary. Please notice the different way the dictionary is expressed. The new expression using kwargs is key equals value, comma, another key equals value for another item. Let's start, instead of this pass, printing the keys. So let's loop over our dictionary for a counter say key in kwargs.keys. So we have in kwargs.keys because we will loop over the keys of the dictionary. And let's have here our empty brackets, our colon in the end, and let's print the key. So we have print using the F string between quotations, key is, and the placeholder here for the key. Let's have our run here. It prints key is math, key is science, for the two keys math and science. Instead of keys, we can even print the values. So let's have a counter value in kwargs.values, of course, because now we will loop over the values in the items of the dictionaries. Print value is, so we have in the placeholder here value. And let's have our run. Value is 10 and value is 8. We can even print the items. So let's have here for item in kwargs.items for item or any other counter say X in kwargs.items, and let's print item in the placeholder item. And let's have a run here. Item is math, 10 and science, 8. We can even use two counters for keys and values instead of item. So let's have for key, value. In args.items, print item is, let's have here key and comma between another placeholder the value. And let's have our run. Item is math, 10, science, 8. What if we have another item here
Equals
of name? And
so
let's have
Alice.
name. We need to add the values starting from the second item of index 1. So let's now have values equals the list, extracting each value from the items. So extract value, looping over the items in kwargs. So for key, value in kwargs.items. And let's have our empty brackets here. In the end, let's print values and see what happens. So we have print values. Let's have here our index starting from 1 till the end, which means have the values of 10 and 8 and just omit Alice. However, the program won't be able to splice the student grades unless we have here the word list. So let's have here list and open a bracket for kwargs.items. Let's revise our sum now. So we have total equals 0 and it will iterate over this list now, values. So for value in values, Let's upgrade the total and print it. Let's have our run here. Yes, it extracts values starting from the second item, 10 and 8, and we can splice it now using list. And the sum is 18. Instead of having all this loop, we can use the function sum. So we can have simply total equals sum of values. So have total equals sum of the list values, which is this list now. And let's have our run here. It gives the same output. This concludes with our args and kwargs. They are functions used to accept a various number of variables.